Hey guys. All right, so the video down below is from Mark Dice, and he was talking about Bernie Sanders' latest endorsement, celebrity endorsement, that is, coming from the one and only Mark Ruffalo. And I saw him in Foxcatcher. That was a really good movie. I haven't bothered to see any of his other movies. I think he was one of the actors that portrayed the Hulk. I'm sure he's been in some of those Marvel movies as a result of that. But he's endorsing Bernie Sanders, and he's a self-avowed communist. He came out and said, well, capitalism is doing so much harm to our society and to our country. We need to adopt socialism. It's like him and Jim Carrey have been the biggest celebrity proponents of socialism. I'm sure there's some other guys that I'm failing to mention right now. But it's really funny because Mark Ruffalo has made a lot of his money through capitalism. People choosing to go see his movies and to buy whatever merchandise that he's tied to, and that is essentially what has given Mark Ruffalo his wealth. Yet at the same time, he's saying, well, capitalism clearly isn't working. Well, it worked for you, Mark, and it actually works for a majority of the country. Those who actually choose to go out and work and contribute something to society that is deemed monetarily worthy. We have benefited greatly from capitalism, so I would say you shouldn't break, or rather, you shouldn't fix what isn't broken. And I will, kind of play a devil's advocate here. We do have socialism in this country with Social Security, with whatever program I'm failing to mention now, with our armed forces, with our tax dollars going to that. And even with Hollywood, a lot of people in California in the entertainment industry have benefited from subsidies, and that's just not that's just not only relegated to the entertainment industry. It's also relegated to the agricultural industry. I think I even heard somewhere that farmers are literally paid not to farm. I don't know what that's all about. I think it's probably just to create monopolies within the agricultural industry. But either way, we have a lot of socialism. And a lot of people who are pushing socialism happen to be very wealthy. I don't think that they would be affected by it. Their taxes wouldn't go up because what they would do is move their money overseas or launder their money somehow. For example, you had this crazy thing happen the other day where somebody bought a banana that was duct taped to a wall, and I think he purchased it for $120,000 and ate it right there on the spot. And I was looking at the video here on YouTube, and there was a comment in the comment section that said, well, this is the oldest trick in the book in terms of money laundering. Drug dealers do this all the time. So yeah, pretty sketchy. Someone buying a banana for over $100,000, that doesn't sound right. I've never seen a banana that I was willing to pay more than $5 for. I don't really eat bananas, to be honest. I probably should, because when I come home from the gym, I'm like super sore. But anyways, that's just a bunch of weirdness. And Mark Dice is absolutely correct. With socialism, it's not about putting money back into the little man's pocket. It's about concentrating all of the wealth at the top with the government. I would rather it be in the pockets of all these billionaires rather than the actual government itself, because billionaires are going to create jobs in the end. Government is not going to create jobs, nor should we rely on the government to create jobs. Another very disturbing thing in the video down below was Elizabeth Warren and Ilhan Omar coming out and saying that they want to provide free housing for all Americans. I'm sure they're going to find a way to exclude hard-working, tax-paying Americans and try and give those benefits to migrants, illegal aliens, criminals, felons. I'm sure all of these people are going to be reaping in the benefits of free housing. But I'm urging people like Mark Dice to mention the program Agenda 21, because I'm sure that the housing will be up to Agenda 21 standards. Now, if you want to do more research on that, I highly, highly recommend you go check out David Icke's video on Agenda 21. It is a very informative video, and it's relatively long, like 90 minutes, but it goes by very quickly because he delivers the information in a very entertaining way, in a very concise way. So that's one thing that Mark Dice didn't mention. But however, Mark Dice, along with Martin Brodell, have began calling these people communists, which they actually are. any people that want to abolish private industry in favor of public industry and just basically abolish the concept of private property, those are communists. They want the government to become ever expanding, like the universe, just so it can have more power over people. And that's a video for a whole nother day. There's so much to unwrap there. But I do want to also recommend another video to you guys. It won't be in the comment, or rather, it won't be in the description box, but I will go ahead and pin a comment. This is a video from Styx talking about tariffs and the trade wars going on between the United States and China. One thing that I have always had a sneaking suspicion of regarding tariffs is that it's not directly affecting the American consumer, unless you consider the consumer to be corporations, because a lot of corporations decide to buy cheap products from China. That's what China specializes in, and is exporting cheap goods. And if we were to stop buying, then their whole entire economy would collapse, because we are their number one customer in terms of buying exports from them. And now that we are extracting oil from our own homeland, as well as opening up new coal and steel sites, we have the ability to export ourselves. So we're becoming less dependent on foreign economies for our goods and services, which is a really good thing in my opinion. There's always going to be give and take. We're always going to have to import goods and services from other countries. Like when it comes to services, I know that we are importing a lot of people from the Philippines, from parts of Southeast Asia, in order to bring more intelligent people, or more willing people that are more willing to take up fields in the medicinal rather, and pharmaceutical industry. And I'm sure there's a lot of industries that I'm not mentioning right now, but we're always going to have that. So I do want to say that the tariffs are not directly affecting the consumer, it's affecting the corporations. And that's the reason why you see all the propaganda out in the legacy media, is because all these people are saying, or all the corporations who are sponsors of these news agencies, they're coming out and saying, well, we need to put out the propaganda that tariffs are bad, because they're ultimately hurting us. We don't want to buy American goods. We want to keep buying things on the cheap. And Trump has really done something brilliant here, because with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, he's actually pressured these corporations not only to hire people and create more jobs because they have more money in their pockets, lowering the corporate tax rate from 25 to, I think it's 16.5 right now. He's also pressured them to buy American because they have more money in their pockets. So if they have more money in their pockets, then there's no excuse for them to buy American goods and services. So I think it's a brilliant thing. I think that is Trump's number one factor in terms of him getting reelected, next to his rhetoric, is the economy, because the economy is something that is very concrete. And I think he's doing a great job. And with everything else, with the wall is getting built. Many other things are happening, and we're just really excited to have him. And I've said this before in closing, that if Trump continued his rhetoric the way he's doing it right now, and the policies were failing, he'd still make a pretty good president, because what he's doing is he's encouraging 80% of America to go out and work, to spend, to do whatever, to live the American dream. But we luckily have something that is a little more substantial, with the wall getting built, with the economy getting better, and many other things. And just the overall spirit of the country is at a really great point right now. With Obama, there was always this looming cloud of depression that we always had to deal with all the weird social issues that were being pushed, with all the propaganda that we're seeing in the legacy media. Martin Burdell really said it great back in 2012. He said, we're just sick of this pro-Obama bullshit. And now we're seeing the complete opposite of what's going on with what happened under Obama. And I think most Americans are enjoying it. And they're going to go to the polls, or rather to the ballots come 2020, and it's going to be a very, very interesting election. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless. I'll see you later.